Welcome into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. We are diving into our latest Cowboys mailbag from Got Us Way, a.k.a. Manny Palmer. A $15 super thanks. So a bunch of entries. We'll get back to it in the George Pickens raffle. Says, Tom, thanks once again for the amazing work, but I need to be in that raffle. You are entered in. As a reminder, everybody, and super chats also work for this, but if you're watching on demand, a $5 super thanks gets you entered in to our second George Pickens jersey raffle. Had the one in the first half of the summer. Now we'll do one in the second half. That's coming up real quick. So if you want in on the George Pickens jersey raffle, send in that $5 super thanks or super chat right now. William Cook is in with a $5 super thanks. Says, great appearance on Blogging the Boys. I think the Cowboys need to sign a one technique before a cornerback. So, William, first off, thank you. I had a lot of fun with my guy, RJ. I think both are needs. Corner, part of it is I can find a good corner. Like, there's Stephon Gilmore. There's Rasul Douglas. There's Kendall Fuller. Like, I think it's easier, not that it's easy, but it's easier to find a potential veteran stopgap corner option until Diggs and Revel end up getting healthy, as opposed to having to search through the defensive tackle corpses out there, where like Linval Joseph is one of your two best options. That's dicey. I don't disagree that, for me, it's like pick your order. I think both are very valid options, whether it's defensive tackle or corner. I just think it's a little bit easier to find a name at corner. Like, maybe you can go get a Raekwon Davis, but is he better than Gilmore relative positions? I'm not actually sure. All right, what do you think is the bigger need? C for corner, D for defensive tackle. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. CB for corner, DT for defensive tackle. All right, from Max Finnegan, a $10 super chat. That's some entries in the George Pickens raffle. Thank you, Max. Which of these two fantastic outcomes would you prefer? Jay Toia is an all-pro and cut Mafah, or Phil Mafah is an all-pro and cut Jay Toia? Highly likely, yes, but which would you want more? For me, it's defensive tackle. For kind of the similar reason I just mentioned on the last question. All pros are great. Don't get me wrong. I would happily take either. I think it is harder to find a defensive tackle all-pro, and that impacts you a little bit more than the Mafah side, although you would also, I guess you could argue, if you have an all-pro back, that means your offensive line played great, and that might be a bigger deal. But just on an individual answer and ignoring what the impact is from other positions there, I think I can get by if I have Jay Toia as an all-pro. Now I feel great about my defensive line room. And I think I can survive with Javonte Blue and Miles Sanders. Somebody gives me decent play. If Mafah's an all-pro, awesome. I feel good about my ground game. If Jay Toia is not good enough to make the roster, who's my other nose guard outside of Mozzie Smith? I get real worried at that point about what the heck my defensive tackle room looks like. From Cowboy Hater, which players need a comeback / breakout year, he says, besides Dak? Look, Dak is one of them. Don't get me wrong. I think, how about Jake Ferguson, tight end? He was not good enough last year. I think he missed having Dak out there, but he was slow to start the season. I think breakout-wise, your last couple first-round picks, right? Mozzie Smith and Tyler Guyton. If either of those players break out, we feel way better about that entire room that they're a part of. From CGW, how does our depth chart look in the safety position? I think solid. I think you can argue if you have a good enough top-end starters, but if we're just counting the number 3 and the number 4 safety, I would have a tough time finding better 3s and 4s in any order than Marquise Bella and Wanye Thomas. And I think they like Elijah Clark, who might be a practice squad guy for them. I think the depth is good on the depth chart. I question if the starters are reliable, impactful, and consistent enough. But I don't think Dallas has much interest in adding a bigger name necessarily. Got a deal alert for you guys. This Cowboys short sleeve hoodie was $55. Now it's just $33. It's on sale on Fanatics at chatsports.com chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. I'll put that link in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. Speaking of hoodie, did you do that on purpose, Jack? Or was that just happy accident? The next guy had hoodie in there. It says, could Joe Milton help our game on designed run plays? The idea of Joe Milton, Cam, I'll say this. I think there is a reason why you don't see a lot of teams deploy the designed quarterback specialty run package outside of maybe some red zone looks in the NFL. Because you almost have to kind of counteract yourself. Like, if you bring out Joe Milton, outside of, like, super short yardage stuff, but, like, if you're bringing him out there on, second and goal from the 6, you almost want to pass because the defense is thinking you're going to run. So, yeah, you almost kind of negate the positive to it unless it's a heavily used package. So, the idea of it absolutely makes sense, but you don't see it deployed that often. I'll put it this way. If Milton starts games, I think at that point the design run play package makes more sense. But if he's just coming in as a sub, I have my doubts. Steven, what one player that hasn't been talked about would you be surprised makes the team? For me, it'd be one of the other offensive linemen like Hakeem Adeniji, Sadiq Charles, Nathan Thomas. Like, the Cowboys' offensive line depth chart is unique in the sense that outside of Dakota Shepley, 14 of the 15 players on this offensive line were draft picks or have played actual real NFL games and started them, which is unusual to have that volume. Maybe it's a surprise third or fourth tight end. It's a Princeton fan or Rivaldo Fairweather. Defensively, like, could Buddy Johnson carve out a role as the last player on the 53, helps out on game day stuff? Maybe. From Tyler Bray, will the Cowboys add a safety like Justin Simmons? First off, glad the former NFL QB still watching. I have my doubts. They just, even if they cut Wilson and save $7 million, I feel like their pitch would be, we like our young guys, which is a pitch they've made before. So do you think, plenty of safety questions today, works out well. Do the Cowboys need another safety? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section of today's show. Cowboy hater. Is this just chugs, by the way? It might be chugs. Is this the year for us, Tom? Look all right with the build. We added some new pieces, new minds, with everyone getting healthy again. I will not say that phrase because I don't believe in using it. I have to see it. It's been 30 years, essentially. I think I feel better about the direction they are going than what they were last year. I did not feel good about that path. None of us really did. So I think they're heading in a better direction. Does that mean it's the year? I don't think that's even a fair expectation. I think playoffs, yes or no, is a good outcome. Or good benchmark, I should say. William Cook, what is one way to tell that training camp is going well? It's a good question. How about this? They have glowing reviews against the Rams in the joint practice. That's like the one way I'd feel like, okay, it's real. Because it's training camp, I think it is easier to tell if it's not going well. That's because you're still playing against each other. Like, the nice part about camp is you actually want your offense and defense to both win some. Otherwise, like, I kind of think one side of the ball is bad. Like, I kind of want to take away from minicamp of like, yeah, Milton and Cropper, and they're all cooking the second team secondary. That's like the third or fourth team because of injuries. So I think the Rams, that practice, as much as we can tell, is probably a good indication. But another element, be healthy. Don't get hurt is maybe. And those are kind of low bars, but could have been recent years. If you want more free Cowboys updates, then subscribe. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. From Ghost88, who would you rather have, Jalen Tolbert or prime Miles Austin? Anyone who tells you it's not prime Miles Austin, should probably be sent to a mental institution. Do you guys remember the 2009 Miles Austin season? 81 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's better than anything George Pickens has done. The answer by far is prime Miles Austin. Now, if the question is Madden Tolbert or prime Miles Austin, that is actually maybe Madden Tolbert. Luis Rodriguez, what % chance do you guys give the Cowboys to win the NFC East? 25 to 30? I don't think the Giants are a huge threat, but I feel like their 25% goes to the Eagles and some of it to the Commanders. I think it might be high for Dallas. I think right now the Eagles and Commanders are better. Cowboys almost swept the Commanders. Cowboys' schedule is tough. I'm not going to rule it out. The NFC East curse is real. So is the sophomore slump curse, but I think a lot has to go the Cowboys' way. From Cowboy Rob 28, Will Milton and Greer, I was thrown off by Will Greer, have a whole half each preseason in week 1. I don't know. I'm very curious what their strategy is, especially for the week 1. We'll see some of Will Greer, I think, but I don't know how much we get of just Joe Milton. We're going to see a lot of Joe Milton. So maybe it's like a quarter for Will Greer. I think the Cowboys know what they have in Greer. Don't think they quite know yet what Milton is. From Felix, at what point would you add a pass rusher like Clowney or Von Miller? I think if there was an injury, if somebody got hurt, I would be more inclined to revisit that. But I've got a numbers game. I've got Micah. I've got Ezraku. I've got Fowler. I've got Sam Williams. I've got Peyton Turner. I've got all these guys on my Marshawn Allen too. Excuse me. That's 6 players that are roster worthy. So how do I make room for one of them outside of an injury? Right now, I don't think there's a need. If somebody gets hurt, then we can have a different conversation there. So name a player who you would like to see the Cowboys sign. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. From Daniel, I know I've said it so many times, if we can't stop the run on defense, we're going to be a soft team, and it's not going to lead to playing with heart and effort. I agree. And it wasn't even just the inside runs. The outside runs were cooking you too. I think you have to do more to stop the run this season. I think that's a huge factor. Pass rushing is a privilege. If you don't stop the run, you don't get that privilege. And that's what the Cowboys feast is pass rush. But I'm still worried about that run defense. From Miguel, Revel is underrated. He will be very good. I was super high on him. I don't know what type of impact he's going to have in year 1, but long term, I remain super high on him.